This is DJ Rubbish on the ones and twos. And I just come here to let y'all know it's about to get real filthy in this mother.
All right, so we got episode 5 of ITWT Trust with Abigail Devins. It's Devins, but
Dabigail.
she go Dabigail. I'm sorry, I messed up the nickname.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, Dabigail is much more known. So now you know exactly who I'm talking about. Now that I've said Dabigail. Yeah, so she's on here today to talk about Ralph Breaks the Internet, the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, thank you for watching both for the first time this week. So that we'll talk about that in a second. About I have a list of movies I'm going to go through and cross-reference and see if you've seen them before, and if you have seen them, at what point in your life you saw them, because I think some of them might have been a little too late to be acceptable.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely the elephant in the room here.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll be reviewing Ralph Breaks the Internet. I thought it was pretty good. We'll go into more depth about it. I thought it was a good follow-up to the first one. A few things I wanted to talk about first. Went to my second Reds game of all time.
Reds.
I'm sorry,
no.
Red Wings. I'm thinking Cincy.
Right.
Dang, that hurts. I need to go back home more often. And now I'm thinking about Skyline. Man, and I'm hungry right now. But anyway, went to my second Red Wings game this week, last night. Went into OT again. So
They're giving you your money's worth even though you haven't paid yet, I don't think.
No, I paid.
Okay.
Oh, they've got my money. Yeah, they definitely got my money. More
Right.
than they deserve.
Free
Because
hockey.
they've lost both times. For the first game, I stayed for the excruciating defeat. But this last game, I will admit I did leave early.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm still a real fan, but
No.
but I couldn't take it anymore, honestly. But good news and silver lining to this is that I've decided I'm going to go into hockey coaching. So I've never, little background, I've never played hockey. I can't ice skate. I've only tried once when I was 7, didn't go well. I don't watch hockey. These 2 games are the only 2 hockey games I've ever watched. But in these 2 games, let me just say that I've been able to dissect and become a master of the sport. So, there's a couple notes I wrote down, and obviously we'll talk more once I'm on staff with the Red Wings, probably within the next couple of weeks. But I think we could really turn around the season. So, first of all, goalie, keep your head on the swivel. I don't know if they teach that, but he did not seem to be really focusing on the puck and where it was. So, definitely need to go over some location tips with him on where to find the puck, how to find it quickly in space. So we'll definitely go over that.
Do you know his name?
No. He's goalie until he proves himself. He's goalie. That's all. That's his name.
All right.
Yeah, and that might not even be a spot. I might move him. Off. So.
Hey, Todd, if you were a hockey coach, what would you tell Tyler Bertuzzi about his sucker punch the other day?
Oh man, I didn't see that, and I don't know who that is. But but once I get in there and watch film, I will have a lot to say about it, I'm sure. But no, actually, wait. First of all, is Tyler? Is he on our team?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I knew that. That was a test for you. One of the notes I had is that we need to get tougher as a team. We were looking really soft last night, so we need to get together more sucker punches. Honestly, that's probably what I'll say.
I mean, he got suspended. So
all right,
you're
hey,
not gonna have a team left.
I'd rather have the
tell them.
entire team suspended for punches than for us to get punched and lose. That's just the way I coach, and yeah, I'm sorry, I've seen success with it. So, or in my head, I've seen success with it. So anyway, that's my blueprint. I'll continue to keep you all updated each week with a Red Wings report. So,
who's your favorite player? Who's the only one that has won you over?
None of them right now.
Do you know any of their names?
They're hard to pronounce. A lot of them have foreign last names. I don't know how to pronounce
Dylan
those.
Larkin, Tyler Bertuzzi.
Well, those aren't my favorites. You can't make me have favorites, Abby. Anyway, I don't want to get bogged down in the details here. Another story I have, and then we'll talk about you. I want to give you a proper introduction, because I didn't. You're in marketing. You also work in marketing. We're gonna talk about that a little bit in this movie as well. The product placement in the movie, because it was prevalent. So okay, another funny story. I go to the movie this week, and as I've said the last couple of podcasts, I go to $5 Tuesday, and you get a free. So you either get a free small or medium popcorn. So obviously, what would you get?
Well, I also went to $5 Tuesday at MJR in Westland because I'm white trash, and I was not offered a free popcorn.
See, you didn't get the MJR card. See, but they should have offered you that anyway. They should have already said something to you about it.
I also wanted to be in it.
What'd you say?
I don't like popcorn.
What? What's wrong with you? You don't like movies, you don't like popcorn. Okay.
Well,
so,
you just threw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, you... Anyway, we're going to get to that in a second here, too, about your... I don't know if you don't like movies or you just don't watch them enough, what the deal is. But anyway, I go up to the counter, he's like, do you want a small or a medium free popcorn? I said,
easy choice.
If you don't stop playing and hand me this medium popcorn, are you joking? Like, give me 2 medium popcorns if you're at it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was mad that he asked me, like, why would I choose to take that? Like, I'm going to finish this before previews are over. Like, the medium I will. Small, I'll finish before I even get to my seat. So yeah. So that was the other thing.
Did you get a medium?
Yeah, I got a medium. What? So I got a medium. So, Abby here, interesting thing about her being on the podcast is that she's seen a very limited number of movies to this point. So I reached out the other day. I said, "Hey, have you seen? Needed a guest for the podcast. I said, hey, have you seen Wreck-It Ralph? We'll start with one. I just had to see first, primer, see if she's seen that one." She says, "No, I have not." I said, "Okay." I kind of knew that was going to be the answer. Any chance you can watch that and the second one before the podcast, and would you want to be on? She said, "Sure." So then I go on to say, like she said, you said something, what did you say about like not seeing movies? What made me like inquire about the other movies?
Well, I think you had mentioned some actors, and I was like, oh, no, you had listed like if we compare this movie to like Lion King and Little Mermaid and stuff like that, would you be able to talk about that?
I said, yeah, have you seen the basics?
Yeah.
And she says, I like name, what did I say? You're looking at the text right now. Right?
Yeah. You asked if I had seen Pixar movies, and I said, well, of all movie categories, that's like probably the one I've seen the most of. And you're like, so like all the classics, Lion King, Hercules, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, etc. And I just sent the gif of the cute little kid, that little chubby black kid that just stands there awkwardly holding his cup.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, okay, so she says, okay, I've seen mostly Pixar movies. So I'm like, okay, well, I know that she's at least seen like the classic Disney movies. And I said, what did I say?
Wrong.
Lion King, Tarzan,
Hercules.
I just threw out like
Aladdin,
random
Little
ones,
Mermaid.
like easy softball ones. Where I'm like, oh, obviously you had to have seen. I've seen those a billion times. She hadn't seen any of them.
No.
So right now we're gonna play a little game. I've compiled a list of what I felt like were some of the classic. I didn't name all of them, so don't get butthurt if you're listening. You're like, wait, you didn't name this movie. Some Disney films in chronological order from the first animated one, Snow White, coming out in 1937. So we're just gonna go through real quick, rapid fire. Snow White, have you seen it?
No.
Pinocchio.
Nope.
Dumbo.
Probably not.
Bambi.
Nope.
Cinderella.
Yes.
Yes. There we go. All right, we got one. Alice in Wonderland.
Nope. Didn't even know that existed.
Peter Pan. What? Well, wait. Tell him. All right.
Thought that was a new movie.
Peter Pan.
Yes. Actually, the what's it called? Pirate guy.
Hook? Captain Hook?
Yeah.
All right.
Big guy.
All right. 101 Dalmatians.
Honestly, you know me and my feelings for dogs. Like I love them so much, more than anything in the world. But I have not seen that movie in full.
All right. Definitely watch. I had both the animated and they had a live action one too that I had on VHS back in the day. Well, this obviously is not a animated film, but
yes,
The
I
Parent
have
Trap.
seen Parent Trap.
All right, cool. All right.
No.
I can breathe easy. Mary Poppins?
Nope.
No, don't look at my list. Don't look at my
You
list.
didn't have it.
Yeah.
No.
So you have to cheat at my notes. No, the Jungle Book is a no.
Mary Poppins was a no.
Oh, Jungle Book.
Jungle Book, I've seen the new one.
Okay, that's a good one, but you need to see the original too. The Fox and the Hound. Nope. The Little Mermaid. I knew the Fox and the Hound was going to be a stretch. The Little Mermaid.
No.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. And I think, isn't there a new one too?
Yeah, there's
I've seen
live
both.
action. Okay.
Yeah.
Which one do you like more?
Don't remember either of them.
Aladdin.
No.
Lion King, we already went through this. Lion King, yeah.
I've seen pieces of.
That's crazy. Pocahontas.
No.
Any of the Toy Stories.
Yeah, all of them. Favorites. Can quote.
Good. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That doesn't save you from this whole list, but all right. Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Pardon?
Hercules.
Nope.
Mulan.
Definitely no.
Tarzan. You already said no.
Oh, wait. Can I tell the story about Tarzan?
Sure.
All right. So, my parents are awesome people, and they did the best that they could do to shelter me from places of the world or parts of culture that they didn't want me to be exposed to at a young age. And they had good intentions. It was not overbearing. But I thought...
But however...
we went to watch Tarzan at my small private Christian school in like 2nd or 3rd grade. And I just remember vaguely my mom mentioning that she didn't want me to watch it because Tarzan does not wear clothes. And so I like went up to the teacher, which was not something I would normally do. And I was like, I think I need to call my mom and ask her if I can watch this.
Wow, that's sad. I feel bad. I feel really bad now. Even like after the story, and you actually shared that story with me another day, and now you're hearing it again. I'm even more sad about it.
My mom says it did not happen, but it definitely did.
Wow. Well, I hope you catch up on these now that you're an adult and can see a guy with his shirt off.
Still not allowed to.
Yeah. You like have it on in the house. You're like sneaking to watch it at home. Monsters Inc.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Lilo and Stitch.
I watched the TV show as a kid, but not the movie.
Finding Nemo.
Oh yeah.
The Incredibles.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, what is
Have
it?
you seen
How
the
have you
theme
seen all the Pixar, but like not the, like where's the divide? Where you just like how did that happen? Was that conscious or was it just? Can't be by accident that you've seen all the Pixar movies.
Well, I was a little bit older when they all came out, and my parents had like let go a little bit. But I think they were also intrigued by these movies because it was like this like CGI, I guess, was like so new that they were interested in it too. So like
they're animated a little bit.
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
Tangled. That was that was a stretch too, but it's newer. That's why I asked.
Is that the girl with the red hair?
No, that's Brave. Which is I didn't even put on this list because I was like, she didn't.
Yeah,
see Brave. Frozen.
Yeah, the worst. Awful movie. Should be burned.
Awful should be burned. Okay. I mean, it's not my favorite out of the Disney movies, but to say it should be burned is crazy. Moana.
Yeah.
Coco.
Well, I only watched it because my dog's name is Coco.
Did you like it?
I fell asleep about 25 minutes in.
What in the world is wrong with you? All right, so I'm gonna continue before I kick you off
Dory,
this podcast.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Finding Dory, don't disrespect it.
I didn't add it. It's not a classic. It's not a classic. I don't even know if it's. I don't know if it's better than any of the films I just named. It might be. It might edge some of maybe one or two of these, but like for the most part. But I mean, we can't even have that argument because we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. So now that fun / depressing game is over, on to Ralph Breaks the Internet. So background on this movie: the IMDb description is 6 years after the events of Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph and Vanellope, now friends, discover a Wi-Fi router in their arcade, leading them into a new adventure. This came out 2 weeks ago. It was one of those Thanksgiving releases. And notable cast, we have John C. Reilly as Ralph, aka what am I trying to say?
Guy from Step Brothers?
I mean, yes, he's from Step Brothers, but I'm trying to think of, what was his name in Talladega Nights? Did you see Talladega Nights? No. Cal Naughton Jr. That was his name in Talladega Nights. That's who he is to me. Is that like that's always who he's gonna be. So he's Ralph. Sarah Silverman plays Vanellope. Gal Gadot is in the movie and plays Shank. Taraji P. Henson plays Yes.
No. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I was surprised that they didn't. They spelled it YESSS instead of YASS. I thought they were gonna do that, but anyway, that was Taraji P. Henson. Screenplays by Phil Johnston. I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna hear them and be like, oh yeah, I love his stuff. But he also did Zootopia and the first Wreck-It Ralph. Zootopia is also a good movie that I'll reference later. So to go.
Wait. Someone, I don't know if it was him, but someone else had worked on like The Simpsons as well. Like award-winning Simpsons episodes that he was a part of. I think it was one of the writers.
That guy or a different guy?
I think it was one of the writers. That was the producer that you just talked about, right?
Got it. Yeah. So that was a writer, Phil Johnson. So maybe I don't know.
It's Chris Murray or something like that.
Okay, didn't know that. So overview of the movie before we go into more in depth, like each part of it. So we come back, like I said, 6 years later. There are arcade games that you're kind of seeing. It's kind of like the best parallel I can make is like a Toy Story, where you're seeing what you see what toys are doing when we aren't around. In this, you're seeing what arcade games specifically do when we're not around. In this one, like in the description said, a Wi-Fi router is put into the arcade. You can jump over from game. The arcade games can jump from different games to games, and that's how they have like this community of arcade games. So anyway, they go into the Wi-Fi router, go onto the internet, and they're exploring the internet. The whole reason they go in the first place is because Vanellope, she's in a car racing game. A kid who's at the arcade accidentally breaks the game, so they have to go find a new steering wheel for her game. Otherwise, her game will be put out of business, and then Vanellope will be homeless, and all the people in the game won't have a game to go to. So her and Ralph, being best buds, go online to try to search on eBay for a steering wheel to replace his game. So they go on there, they're searching. Vanellope realizes that she likes a game that's on the internet and likes, in general, the internet more than the old arcade. Ralph has a hard time understanding this and letting her go and leaving her because they've been best friends and hanging out every day for the last 6 years. So you see, the struggle of her trying to break it to Ralph that she's ready to move on and explore when he's, kind of stuck in his daily routine in his game. So they work through that. He has to deal with his insecurities of losing what he felt like was losing a friend when really is just allowing his friend to pursue her dreams. And, it's happy ending. He's understanding at the end. And they still love each other. He goes back to his game. She stays on the internet, and they visit periodically and also message back and forth. So that is really the movie in a nutshell. Do you think that was a good way to put it?
Yeah, I think the only, like you said, they went on the internet to look up the steering wheel on eBay.
Right.
I think the key thing is they went to the internet. So in the movie, like, they didn't just hop on a computer and start typing stuff in.
That is good to know.
They literally hopped into the modem and went to this world that was the internet.
Right. Yeah. So it's like all encompassing. So each game, if you've seen the trailer, you can get the gist. Or if you've seen the first movie, then you can kind of picture it. I was a little nervous going into this movie, not because the first one wasn't good. Actually, funny thing about the first one, when I saw the first one for the first time, I was like, oh, okay, this is all right. I didn't feel like it was great, and then as I kept watching, it grew on me over time. So going into this one, I was a little hesitant, not because of that reason, but more because them going on the internet, I thought they were going to try to force it a little too much, and it was going to possibly be corny, but I thought they did a good job overall. So with the cast in this, I like when they take, when kid movies take adult comics and then make them wholesome. Like you have Vanellope voiced by Sarah Silverman, who is an adult comic and has a lot of graphic content, but then you have her voicing a kid's character. So I thought that was cool. I think same thing with Eddie Murphy and the Dr. Dolittle. It's funny, you see Eddie Murphy and you did see Dr. Dolittle.
Animals, man.
Awesome. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you like animals.
Mindy Kaling, she was in it.
Who was she in it as?
She's
earlier,
one of the racers, the girl racers. And
Got it. Love Mindy Kaling as well. But yeah, I always think that's kind of cool when they take the adult comics and then you see them this wholesome side of them. So that's always funny to me. Kevin Hart, he was voicing Life of Pets, but obviously his stand up comedy is not appropriate for kids, but he straddles that line very well of being still family friendly. He does enough family friendly things and has promotes a really positive image outside of his stand up. Even in his stand up, it's still very it's not okay. Yes, his stand up isn't family friendly, but he's less graphic than like an Eddie Murphy, I guess is my point. But but like I said, he does a lot of stuff outside of just voicing a character that promotes like a really positive image. Like he's very conscious of that.
Yeah, he's about to host the Oscars.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was going to bed last night. I opened Instagram and saw that. So yeah, whenever I see, also another thing, when I see people who are really funny on their own and write their own stand-ups and stuff in these movies, I always wonder if how much say, or if they have any say over the script. Like I wonder if like how much, or if they say like, oh, this is like really funny, like especially if they're not like actually like some of these, I know that they have like producing credits and like writing credits, and so they are. But then on other ones, it's like, if Sarah Silverman sees this and it's like, hey, maybe I should say it this way, or like, I mean, obviously she'll say it her way, but maybe I should like word it this way. This would be funnier if she has that liberty to do so, or if they listen to her, or
yeah, which makes you wonder, like, because they move their mouths in the animation to match what they're saying. If they improv something, do they have to send that back and like move their mouth a different way? Because that for sure doesn't happen. Like, they don't wait to start the animation until after the actors have done their script reading. There's no way.
I don't know. You sure? Sure about that? I'm gonna have to fact check that.
I mean, it probably happens like cohesively, but you would think that they would start on the animation well before the actors work on script writing. But I had a thought, something I noticed.
Yeah.
I feel like they made the characters look like the actors that read their parts. So like Felix kind of looks like that guy from 30 Rock. Like the Vanellope kind of looks like Sarah Silverman. Maybe it's just like in my head, but like if you put them next to each other, it looks like those little like emoji things that Apple makes now.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I can see it mostly with her. I mean, it's just as far as like
I've seen that Ralph.
The hair,
but...
like Ralph. I mean, Ralph. They have like, he kind of has like frizzy hair. Like, I mean, his is more of like a Napoleon Dynamite type of fro. Not Ralph, but actually, John C. Reilly in real life. But yeah, I see what you mean. But yeah, Sarah is probably like the closest to that. And then you just, once you know who voices her, you like recognize the voice. You just keep seeing that person as they talk anyway. So it's kind of like both ways. So what I felt like made in this movie, and what makes Disney films in general great, and like their general recipe, is like personifying inanimate objects. It's like typically what a lot of their successful movies, like a Toy Story, again, that's a good movie to compare this to. I know you haven't seen this other one I'm about to name, but Brave Little Toaster was, I know you haven't, where it was appliances that came to life. Similar to how like
Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, exactly. There you go.
Saw that one.
So I mean, that's kind of like their recipe. That's what they do. Obviously, the sing-alongs. So I think that's a good formula to go off of. It's successful. I enjoyed each time. Also with like taking an adult joke or concept and putting it in kid forms. Like one joke that was funny, and like, I don't know if I'm just a big kid for laughing at this in the theater, but when they went to like the bar, the video game.
Oh yeah,
the bar. He's like, he looks at someone who else is in the bar. Is like, since when did you start drinking root beer? And I was like,
Felix joined him.
Is that what Ralph said to Felix?
He like couldn't believe that Felix was about to drink.
Yeah.
Can I tell my favorite joke?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So I went with my dad, and it was towards the end of the movie, or it was at one point they were wandering on the internet, and Ralph says, "Scary," or she asked if he was scared or something like that. And he goes, "Scary is when you clench your butt. My blood." Okay, I'll try that again.
Nope. Oh wow.
My blood. That is the butt. Wow. Scary is when you clench your butt. My butt is still clenched. And my dad, I thought, was gonna have to leave because he was laughing so hard.
Really?
I think they were talking about like being excited versus being scared.
Right.
He's like, it's when you clench your butt. My butt is still clenched.
Well, we know that you do not have a future in stand-up based on that delivery.
Yeah,
but,
I stuttered.
So
it's all right.
It happens to the best of us. I always think that's kind of like funny when they do stuff like that in movies. The detail in the movies and cartoons in general are just getting like ridiculous. As far as like, you look at some of the older ones that, even though they're classics, I mean, you look at this new Lion King coming out, and I was talking about how I'm hesitant with some of these new live action Disney films anyway. But one thing to note is like the level of detail, and obviously this new one's being done in CGI, and all these live actions are being done in CGI. But seeing that, like, I remember that there was a picture that was going viral of a close up of Mr. Incredible, his arm hair, like it was talking about how detailed Pixar is. And you see like the people walking around in the background, like while they're on the internet, you're seeing like all of them like walk at different paces, and the way they walk, you know, is different, and like the way their arms move are different. And it's just that type of detail wasn't in movies, you know, a couple decades ago. Like it's just crazy to see like as they continue to just like progress.
What do you think about like walls in the background of shots? Used to just be walls with maybe like pictures, like random pictures on it, but now like you'll find like a funny family picture with like a you know, like a kid screaming in it. Like they pay attention to like the smallest things.
Yeah, the detail is nuts.
Yeah.
Like I remember when so like Disney movies that used to come out in the 90s, I remember like a couple of them. I believe it was on the Lion King VHS that I had, where like before they'd show like a clip, or if you got the DVD, they have like behind the scenes of people, of showing the animators like sketching, like the original sketches. So that was just like, that's what I thought of when I was looking at how the detail, and I'm like, wow, how far it's come.
Greenfield Village here, or Henry Ford Museum here in Dearborn, had an exhibit, like a Pixar exhibit.
Yeah.
And I went, and it was awesome. You got to see, like, first a little documentary about the process, but then, like, use the softwares and stuff that they use, and, like, walks you through the steps that, you know, Pixar takes to bring this film to life.
Yeah.
And it made me not as mad that The Incredibles 2 had 2, right? Yeah, Incredibles 2 had taken so long. I was like, well, now I get it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot that goes into it.
Man, I mean, yeah, it's incredible. Well, no pun intended. But I actually wasn't trying to make that a joke. I hate for even saying it now. But for accidentally saying it. But anyway, another thing I wanted to talk about was that I mentioned earlier was the product placement and the marketing in the movie. So in the movie, if you haven't seen it yet, when they go to the internet, there are a couple different either businesses that they walk past, that they like visit while they're like surfing the internet, or that are an integral part of the movie. So Snapchat is one that they see. So I started listing them because I'm like, okay, I want to see like which ones they have and like which big name ones. So Snapchat was one, Amazon, Fandango, I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Fandango, yeah.
Come on, movie critic. You know,
right?
say Fandango.
I know. It's not one of my favorite. Like that's not like one of the go-tos for me. Plus, you shouldn't have a name like that. Like you should have an easier name to say. So.
I think you're the only one that struggles with it.
So they need to work on the spelling of that. I'm sorry. They need to make it easier for people for real movie critics like myself.
IMBD. Speaking of movie critics.
See, yeah, you messed up too. Yes.
Yeah, but IMBD was there.
It was.
Yeah.
It was in the movie. I didn't even peep that. eBay, obviously, because that's what they go on there to like search for. Spotify, Venmo, Instagram, Cash App. Yep, he mentioned that. No Facebook. So this was another odd one. So Pinterest was another one. So
that was a big one. This
was odd for me. They have like basically what is Google, and they're talking about, they reference like the what is it, suggested autofill, yeah. So but through a company, and they changed the name, it's called Knows More.
Yeah.
So it's obvious it's Google. Like it's Google, but they call it Knows More. And then there's another part where in order to like raise the money for the steering wheel that they need to buy, they go on what is basically YouTube, but it's called BuzzTube.
Right.
So obviously knowing that Google or YouTube is owned by Google, I was like, oh, that must have been a company that either said explicitly we don't want to be in it, or didn't want to pay for product placement. But then later on in the movie, they show Google at the end.
Yeah, because he said, oh, I bet they have a lot of goggles there. Because he read Google as goggle.
Got it.
That was at the very beginning.
So that was at the beginning, and then they didn't show like the actual Google until the end. They showed like near the end of the movie, they showed like an actual sign of Google in the internet. So I guess my point was for one, what was the budget for this movie? I wonder. And two, which obviously this is stuff you can search, but how much did these companies pay for product placement? How much did they pay to be in this movie?
Well, so here's my thought. When I heard BuzzTube instead of BuzzFeed or YouTube, all I could think was that Google, aka YouTube, and BuzzFeed did not want to fully sign the contract that Disney presented to them.
Got it. What is your actual title at your job too? Because obviously, like that's what I was about to
senior email answerer.
Is that actually your,
No.
No, I was about to say. I honestly thought for a second I was gonna be like, wait, we have to have a talk about it.
No, but I feel like I email all day. All day. No, I'm a digital marketing strategist.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So I knew this was like, I knew some of the stuff I was gonna, as I was writing it down, I was like, Abby might have a little insight on some of this.
Right. Well, like one of my internships in Chicago, we did a lot of like negotiating with companies on product placement, and often they'll say yes, but, and then fill in the blank.
Got it.
So like that might have been what happened with Google. Like, yeah, you can put our name on a building, but we're not going to let you do anything with YouTube.
Right. Got you. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was thinking about that during. I was like, you know what? Good thing Abby's on the show. You know, since you don't watch movies, that'd be good that you at least know a little bit about marketing. So, how much is our information worth to companies? And I know we talked to, like, there's a couple things that as I was watching the movie, I was like, okay, these are things that me and Abby actually like recently talked about. Oddly enough, but obviously, information is a very valuable currency. And I would just like wonder, and I thought I guess what the part of the movie that made me think about this is the knows more, when he says like, oh, you don't have any browsing history, so I can't give you like suggestions based on basically spying on your browsing history.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking like, wow, like there's so many like different companies that I give permission to, and like I sign like the agree to terms and conditions without reading, and I don't even know what I'm signing myself up for half the time. I mean, obviously, you're signing up for like this one thing that you want, but you also sign and agree to all this other stuff that you don't take the time to understand. So I just wonder like how much information I'm willingly giving to people, and then how much it's worth for them. You know, and when I say them, like a Google or an Amazon or purchasing history, whatever, to then sell. Like, do they use that information to sell to other people?
Right. So there's two folds to that. One, Google knows so much about all of us, and it is worth millions of dollars. Like, it makes them millions and millions, probably billions, right? Google.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of dollars. Like when people say, oh, I hate when I look at something on Amazon, then it follows me around. That is literally so easy. Like, we know that it's literally just like a tracking code that follows you around, and it does display ads from there. Like, it's so simple. But stuff that Google does with the data, like your searching data and all of that, like, we have no idea what they're up to back there, but they're up to some, like, sneaky things.
And, like, my mindset is, like, at this point, like, I know a lot of people, like, do you cover your camera on your computer?
No, because I'm really pretty, and whoever gets to watch me probably really enjoys it.
Wow, so it's like charity for you.
Yeah.
So you're, like, lucky that person.
Yeah.
Wow. How awesome for you. Well, you did say you were a model, so that's a little freelance, little pro bono modeling. So no, I actually don't. And there's a lot of stuff that like I feel like they like I get spied on by like whether it be companies or like I just agree to stuff. Like I feel like they listen to me on my phone all the time.
Oh, for sure.
Because I get suggestions and like ads in Instagram ads and stuff like that are like stuff that I just talked about that I'm like, how do you even, like, this is not a coincidence.
Oh, that happens to me all the time.
So but I guess like I have no intentions of like going and like change anything because it's like it's too late now. Like I feel like it's too late. It's like you have enough, like whatever, and I'm not doing anything like crazy. Like if I start committing like murders, then I'll probably be a little bit more cautious. But until then, I'll keep up with this. Like I'm not like they have all this information already. So it's like what's the point of me? And it's so easy, and like the access is, I mean, that's what we traded for, like the convenience. So like the convenience of having like an iPhone and then also a MacBook and then an iPad and it all being connected, and just like the ease of it instead of trying to do like what I'm going to do, get like a burner phone and like only take notes on like a notepad. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing to think about is that you're going to see ads either way. You might as well have them tailored to your general interests. So, I mean, it's just going to get worse and worse.
Yeah, oh, for sure. So, whatever. They know about me. So
Big Brother is always watching.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's the word? I mean, they know I do have like full-on concerts in my apartment when I clean, like once a week. So there's that. They've seen some of my dance moves. They've heard me freestyle rap. Let's put it like this. I know if I hear one of my raps now, like if I like maybe a bar, like if they have a bar or two, I'll chalk it up to coincidence. If I hear like 4 or 6 bars together that I know I've rapped out loud, then I'm gonna be mad. That's when I'll be mad. They can post pictures of me online. They can give my information away. But if I hear 6 bars of mine out there, someone
better get a check.
What? Man, I better get royalties. I better get paid every single time that song comes on the radio. So that's my only thing is protecting my raps. So we talked about budget. How they touched on a whole bunch of stuff in this movie, and like a lot of Disney movies do have like a lot of different themes that they're trying to touch on. They do it way more now and way more noticeably now, and we'll talk about that, the princess scene in a second.
Oh yeah.
But
I knew who about half of them were.
Oh yeah, you didn't even know who a lot of them were. That's nuts. People posting on the internet for attention and money. We talked about this the other day.
Are you really about to get me started on this?
Oh yeah. We're gonna talk about it because I know, and specifically because we were talking about it last weekend anyway, and then I went and saw this movie and I was like, oh, this is great. We can talk about it again. So the conversation to catch you all up is what I just said. Lost my train of thought. Is basically influencers or people who YouTubers. Wow, you had to take the glasses off to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm getting heated.
Oh my goodness. So Abby has some strong opinions on this topic, and if that is a real profession, if it's a respected profession, even if you make a lot of money, and obviously the way I'm introducing it, you already know her stance on it. So in the movie, Ralph is, in order to get the money for the steering wheel, like I said, is on what the equivalent of YouTube is in the movie BuzzTube. And he's just doing a bunch of stupid stuff on the internet. Like he's literally looking at what like the biggest, the most trending things are at the moment. So like boxing openings, makeup tutorials,
eating a hot chili pepper,
self-inflicted pain, all this other stuff. So he's making all these videos, and it's kind of poking fun at some of the stuff that our generation does, or people in general do for attention on the internet now and for money. So me and Abby were having this conversation before, like I said, about if that's a profession. So Abby, what are your thoughts?
I mean, there is a difference between a profession and a way that you make money.
Elaborate.
All right, so people who, oh man.
I mean, do you have names? Do you have?
Yeah, I have
Adam.
Oh, Adam.
Their
handle.
Yeah, drop their handle if you have something to say.
No, I mean, I just think that being like a lifestyle, like influencer, Instagram person, YouTuber, whatever, you are surviving off of the affirmation of other people rather than pursuing something that you're talented in and using that to make a difference, whether that's within an organization or company or whatever that may be.
Okay, so playing devil's advocate, because I hear what you're saying. I do disagree. I genuinely disagree with you in some parts, but some stuff I understand what you're saying and agree. But to play devil's advocate here, isn't that what all businesses are doing? Aren't all businesses, like whether you're selling something or you're entertaining, isn't it all predicated on people backing it and liking it and the affirmation? So, like this movie, they put this movie out. Like in order for this movie to make money, we have to like it.
If you're a doctor, it does not matter that you're opening a box and you have a $10 discount code if they want to get a bunch of lotions. Okay. You're like literally saving people's lives. I mean, I work in marketing, so like it's very different, but I don't know. I mean, like I think if you can hustle that industry and make enough money doing that, then so be it. Like, I mean, not to go all churchy, but like you should do whatever the Lord is calling you to do in your life. But I mean, if that's your calling, then go for it. If you can find a way to like bring good out of it, then hats off to you. But it's like, in my opinion, it's like, hey, get out of bed in the morning and go to work.
Got it.
I'm also a grandma.
Yeah. Important to note is that she's not from our generation, so she can't really understand where we're coming from. No, I think just really quickly, because I mean, this obviously we could talk about this for a while. There's always topics each podcast I find that are ones that you can kind of go on, like you can go off on an entire like conversation about and talk for like 30-40 minutes if you wanted to. What were you about to say?
I think this is a good, like, this is a really good connection to the movie, because everything Ralph was doing, like, he was just trying to get likes. It did not matter what he was doing.
Right.
So he was like making a fool of himself, he was hurting himself just to get attention on the internet.
Right.
And what we so often forget is that we're real people. And so what you paint yourself to be on a social media platform or anywhere on the internet could be very different. And I think we've seen that a lot lately with like celebrities and stuff who take their own life. I mean, that's like a public platform, but we know people like personally who like they struggle with stuff, but when you're like sitting behind a screen, that doesn't help you. Like we're all like so consumed by like our image and what we like show ourselves to be rather than who we really are. And I think this movie did a really, really good job of depicting that. And did I use that word right? Depicting that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of like depicting that and showing that like the internet can be a bad place. Yeah,
that was going to be the next section I was going to talk about, is all the different themes that this movie had and all the different topics that they tried to touch on and break it down at a child's level. But and you know, again, if you're going to break it down and you're going to put it in a kids movie, then show it how kids are, like all the stuff they were showing, like kids actually do. Like kids are on Instagram, kids are on YouTube. Obviously we're on YouTube. Everyone, like I said, it's anyone can relate to that. Like we can relate to that because like we know people or have seen people or are aware of Instagram accounts or Instagram models or Instagram influencers, whatever the case may be, YouTubers, whatever. But then also kids can, like the stupid stuff like where he was just like making noise. Like someone showed me that video where he's just like making noises in the mic. Like it's a girl who does that on YouTube. Who showed me that? It wasn't you. I can't remember who it was. If you showed me that and you're listening, then I don't know how many people actually listen, but then
I do, and I don't listen to podcasts
that
or watch movies, and I will listen to your podcast.
Wow,
about
you know what, that means a lot, Abby. Thank you. But yeah, what was I saying? I lost.
The internet could be a bad place, and this movie did a good job of showing kids that.
Oh yeah, about insecurities. Yeah. So using this as a way to show kids like how their actions, how silly they look. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you do stuff and when you see someone else do, you're like, wow, that's stupid, and you're like, wait, I actually do that, and then you know that helps you realize it. So yeah, as far as like some of the stupid stuff he was doing, I think that was done intentionally for that reason, and showing how insecure he was when he saw the comments. So he's doing all this dumb stuff, and there's a point in the movie where he looks at the comments, and yes, aka Taraji P. Henson is the one who's over YouTube in the movie, and she says to him like, hey, number one rule of internet is do not look at the comments.
Right.
So
Todd, have you ever been bullied online?
No, I've never been. I had one bully. It wasn't online. It was in kindergarten and first. You know what? I'm not even gonna give him the satisfaction. It was a girl. It was a girl though.
Do you need the name of therapist?
No, I won't. Yeah, but it was a girl who bullied me, like for kindergarten and first. I mean, it wasn't like I was going home like crying, like anything. One time I did cry. I'm not gonna lie. She didn't see it, but I did cry.
What did she do?
I made a gingerbread man for it was like paper like cut out, and like you just like drew on it, design or whatever. You like made it for your parents or whatever. And she like ripped it on the bus. Like she just ripped it in half, and it was like yeah, it was first grade. Yeah, and she ripped it in half, and like I was so hurt. What, man? I was so hurt. Like I can remember how I felt back then. Like that's crazy.
Like when Vanellope broke.
Oh man,
the cookie necklace.
Yeah, man, that was
so
tough.
Good at this.
Yeah. Yeah, that was nuts. When she did that hurt me too.
Did you notice where the half of the heart went when it broke?
It fell, right?
Yeah, it fell, and what was down there when it fell?
I don't no.
It said signs for like dial-up and DSL and like all of these old things, like parts of the internet that are now dead and abandoned and forgotten about.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't even paying attention to that, to be honest with you.
Todd, what kind of movie?
I was note taking. I had to rubbish. Yeah, no, I was taking notes and I was doing a lot. I'm multitasking movies a lot too. But like before I started doing this, obviously like I wouldn't just be taking notes in the movie, but I would like be I would be in like on my phone like online shopping while I watch movies. Like, and I'm not a good multitasker really, but in movies like I think because I go so frequently, it's just like.
Is it because the internet is an endless pit of content to consume?
It is, yeah. That probably is. Like I'm fine with admitting that. Yeah, 100%. Like we're like, oh, that internet. Yep.
I watch dog videos for 2 hours at a time.
Oh no, that's unacceptable. That's where I draw the line.
No. Yeah. I just like.
You're a weirdo.
Sit on the toilet till I can't feel my feet anymore, and
oh, that's embarrassing.
2 years deep in some dog Instagram account.
Well, if you want me to cut this part of the podcast,
I'm not ashamed of that at
oh
all.
man. So a couple of random comments before we continue talking about the themes. Have you ever? No, that's a silly question.
Have I ever seen? He just stops right there.
Yeah, sorry. There's a movie called Baby Driver that came out. It's about the grown man whose name is Baby, who goes by Baby, and he's a getaway driver for these bank robbers. Anyway, he's a really good driver. I thought about that. I saw the movie, so it was obviously not obviously because you haven't seen it, but it was a big movie. Like I think it came out. Baby Driver came out last year, 2 years ago. I don't know. Time goes by fast. But
who was in it? Who, like, what names?
Jamie Foxx was in it and Kevin Spacey was in it. Those are the biggest guys. Oh, John Hamm was in it too. All right. So, I'm sorry. The look I just gave her, she was confused at John Hamm. She didn't know who that was. Anyway, I thought about that. The only parallel is that he's a really, really good, talented driver, and so is Vanellope. So I thought about that. R.I.P. Stan Lee. Do you know who Stan Lee is?
Yeah, I do know who Stan Lee is.
Did you notice the cartoon in the movie that looked like Stan Lee?
I did not, but I was reading some things about this movie today.
And you saw it.
And I did see
in the
that,
notes.
Yeah,
Stan Lee made a cameo in this movie, so I don't know if that was put in prior to his passing away or...
It had to have been after.
So I think... Well, I don't know, though, because then... So part of me wants to say after because... I don't think he's made a cartoon appearance in a regular Disney movie, not a Marvel, because obviously Marvel's owned by Disney now, but not a Marvel cartoon, but it's a regular Disney, unrelated superhero movie. However, so part of me is like, okay, they added him in. But on the other end, they also showed outside of Marvel, he was the only Marvel aspect, but they showed, like, they went to Disneyland.com or whatever the Disney website is, in the movie, and they showed like Star Wars stuff and other stuff that Disney owns. So then I was like, okay, maybe they would show Stan Lee just to show like the Marvel side of things. So I don't know. Either way, it was cool. They just showed, he didn't even say anything. He like just turned around and you could tell it was StanLee. So the old man who turns around.
Yeah. And I was like, they wouldn't have put him in such like a long, even though it wasn't that long, of a shot if he wasn't someone important. And I was gonna lean over to my dad and be like, who is that?
Yeah. They did it in a cool way. Yeah. As they always do with the cameos with him. But I mean, with this one, it was like for those like if you know, you know. It was one of those type of deals. So that was cool.
Do you want to talk about the music?
Yes, that was my next note.
Oh,
we're on it now.
I don't have my glasses on,
killing it.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I know you didn't. I know you didn't look at the notes. Vanellope had a song in this, so it wasn't a sing along like this. Like the movie isn't a sing along.
It's gonna be the next Frozen. Watch out, Frozen soundtrack. People are going to be singing. What is it? What's the song? No, it's sarcastic statement. Who's gonna walk around the elementary school singing? What's it called? Slaughter Race. It was
Slaughter Race. That's right, Slaughter Race. That was my jam. That was a good song. It sounded kind of like.
Watch out, let it go.
You haven't seen Tangled, but Tangled is similar to. I have heard. It's similar to a Tangled song. Tangled's underrated. It came out at I don't know if it just was it came out at a weird time. Tangled's better than Frozen. A lot of people will not agree with me on that statement, but if you just watch and you don't get caught up in the Frozen hype, Tangled's much better than Frozen, and it's the same type of animation that they did for Frozen. Okay. And a really good soundtrack too. But it reminded me of a song from Tangled. This one did. They just kind of put in aspects of all like the famous Disney songs. It was obviously like satirical, making fun of like the Disney whatever songs. Anyway, So some of the other themes, I know we talked about, you know, the insecurity thing. The biggest scene, I don't know if I say biggest scene, but one of them that's in the trailer that you've seen. So even if you haven't seen the movie, you can see the trailer and basically get all of what I'm about to say. I understand everything I'm about to say about it. There's a scene where they have all the Disney, where Vanellope, when she goes to like the Disney.com site, crashes like a sleepover of all the famous Disney princesses. So you have Rapunzel in there, you have Mulan, you have Belle from Beauty and the Beast, you have Ariel from Little Mermaid, you have Pocahontas, you have Cinderella, you have the girl from Brave, I can't remember her name, I wasn't a huge fan of Brave, but the redhead.
I feel discriminated against. That you don't know.
Yeah, right. That's why. That's because she has red hair. What is? I feel bad.
They were all there.
They were all there. All the princesses.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a scene where they ask her if she's she's like, hey, I'm a princess like you all, and their guard is up at first, and she's like, believe me, my name is Princess Vanellope. I'm from Sugar Rush, yada yada. And then they start asking her a series of questions, being sarcastic, like
they were knocking Disney.
They were knocking Disney. Obviously it's a Disney movie. So, what was the first thing they said? It was like, "Did you need a big strong man to save you? Are all your problems? Does everyone think all your problems will be solved by a big strong man?"
Do you know what that concept is called? White knighting. Because
Oh, no, I didn't know that. Yeah.
On the way. Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't know. That was in there.
Yeah. I wrote a paper about it in college.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the movies, but
hey,
talking about this. It's just that like Disney follows this theme of like, oh, poor me, little girl, but who's also kind of strong, but I definitely need a big man to come and help me. And like they come in and save the day, this big strong man, or like this big beast in Beauty and the Beast.
Right.
Shout out to a movie I saw. So yeah, that's a concept of white knighting, and I actually read an article today about it after this movie, or like related to this movie, of how they brought that up, because Disney's been under a lot of criticism for being a little
misogynistic
in that sense. Yeah. So, but they addressed it like
they did
super head on.
Yeah, so they go head on with it, and then so they bring that up. What else did they say to her?
Have you stared into water while singing about your dreams?
Yeah, so they call out all the cliches, and she's like, yes, daddy issues, yes, and they're like, do you not have a mom? And she's like, yes, and they're like, oh, you are a Disney princess. So it was a little odd. It was a little cringeworthy. Not because of the message that they were trying to get across. It's always weird to me when something feels forced. So it just felt like they slap you in the face with it. And it's like, yeah, we get the point, because like we can't not get the point. Like it was in the trailer. They showed that was the longest part of the trailer.
Yeah.
Like so they want you to see that. Then you see it all again in the actual movie.
Well, that picture that was on a lot of like the movie posters was her with all of the princesses, and she's like poking out of the middle.
Yeah.
And before you had asked me like to even go watch this movie, I was like, oh, is this about
the princesses?
I thought they were going to be like main characters.
No, so you can see why they did
selling
that.
tickets.
Right. I did see a Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid Ariel had a shirt on that I thought was dope, but I can't wear it because either people won't know what it's about, or if they do realize like, oh, that's from Little Mermaid, then I'll look like a weirdo wearing the shirt. But it had have you ever seen like I've seen it, the first time I ever saw it was on the Beatles, where they had like the different names. That's like Paul, John, yeah. So they have she had one that said like gadgets, gizmos.
I did see that. I did not get it though.
Yeah, because you haven't seen Little Mermaid. Anyway, it's in just watch. Just watch, please. But anyway, she had the shirt on. I thought it was cool, but I knew I could never like wear that. Yeah. Maybe if I have like daughters and it's like, oh, they made me wear it, like maybe I do that, like I buy it for everyone.
They probably make like a unisex T-shirt of it. I don't see why you couldn't pull that off.
Yeah, maybe.
Who cares what people think?
You know what? And now maybe I sound sexist right now by saying that, right? Maybe I need to just embrace it.
That was bad. And like, why do you need to worry about what other people think?
That
about,
is
like,
wow. We did talk about that insecurity. Yeah, I shouldn't care what people think.
No.
Wow, it doesn't matter how many likes I get, as long as I'm comfortable with myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll update you all on that shirt. Maybe I'll wear it on the podcast.
Maybe I'll get it for you.
I will wear it.
All right. That way you can, like, if someone does have something to say about it and you're feeling insecure, be like, my friend bought it for me.
Yeah. My friend Abby bought it. She's gonna get pissed if I don't wear it. But yeah. So that was a part in the movie that was they kind of hit you in the face with it. They mentioned. Now, first of all, I mean, not to be like super nerdy technical, but that's not true that all of them don't have moms. Mulan had a mom in the movie, so just throwing that out there. So I went back and started looking and thinking, when did Disney start consciously making female empowerment movies? Maybe you know what? Maybe I shouldn't word them as female empowerment movies. Movies that had a strong female lead. That was like women power type of movies. I know you can't answer that because you've only seen 3.
Wait.
But what's up?
Well, I asked my dad what he thought about it when we got home.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing he said was that it was anti-male. And so that, like, the men were always, like, the dumb ones. Mm-hmm. So we argued about that for a hot minute, and he changed his mind a little bit. But it definitely was, like, Ralph, you're dumb, and you need to get your emotions in check and get your life together.
Yeah, I do. I see what you're saying, because I do think.
Wait, he said it, not me. That was not my opinion.
Right. No, I mean, yes, in that specific movie, yes, Ralph was like dumb,
right.
Like that was his character. I try to catch myself when I think like that, because of the fact that with I try not to take it that way, because whenever it's like a marginalized group,
it's our turn.
Yeah, like exactly. So that's why I was like, okay, cool. Like you need to balance the scales a little bit. So that's like, but I think there's a way like to continue to do that where they don't have to say in each movie like, hey, we are marginalized. We're not, I mean, that doesn't have to be pronounced. It's cool that they did for this one. That's fine. I don't know if kids will necessarily understand it, but like just having just seeing it in movies. Like just start making movies where women aren't don't have to heavily rely on the male, or they're the hero. So I went back and I said, okay, when did Disney start doing this more? What movies can I pull from where they've already done this? And, I didn't even realize that as a kid. So you have Mulan. She saves all of China. You haven't seen that, but great movie.
That's a little bit older, right?
Yeah, 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not from...
from our childhood, not from you weren't 20 when it came out, so you probably weren't allowed to watch it. But Mulan, so she saves all of China, and that movie was where in what am I trying to say? I don't know what period of time that was in China, but women didn't have in the movie. I'll inform you, since I'm sure everyone who's listening has seen Mulan. Women didn't have.
I played outside a lot as a kid. I would encourage everyone to try that. Okay,
all right. In that time period in China, she was, women weren't allowed to serve in the army. Okay. And her father gets injured, and she, serves in his place, and saves China. And I'm not gonna go through all of Mulan. As I'm talking it through, I'm just realizing how like asinine it is that you haven't seen it. Brave, strong female lead. Frozen, obviously. Frozen was the one that was talked about a ton about it.
I have a question.
That wasn't the first one. What's up?
So we have like Disney princess movies, but are just like, those are typically geared towards, younger girls. What about the boys? It's just like the general movies, like the other movies they put out.
Yep.
Is that just like?
So like Zootopia, that's another one. Zootopia, you haven't seen is animals. So
I've seen Zootopia.
Oh, you have seen it? So, female lead, you have the
lady,
bunny.
the thing at the front desk. I don't know if it was a guy.
Sloth?
Yeah.
But you have the girl, that's the cop. And then Moana. Most recently.
That was cute.
So you have some, but yeah, I expect them to probably more consciously try to gear it that way and like diversify. They did so with Princess and the Frog, had their first black princess. So I think Disney will continue to do that and just echo the like current times and the current issues. So it's good.
I'm appreciative of it.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, they have the biggest platform for children.
Yeah.
Out of any company probably. So as far as movies and television and stuff like that. So I think it's important if they're gonna lead that charge or at least be a part of it, then that's important. What else was I gonna say about important parts about that movie?
Well, I noticed something. So, the first movie, Wreck-It Ralph, is everything is inside of video games within the arcade. But they leave the arcade when they go to the internet in this sequel.
Right.
Something I noticed is the difference of life within the arcade versus life on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the minute they enter the internet, it is insane. And Vanellope makes a comment about how, like, something related to, like, how do people ever sleep because there's just so much here. And, like, you think about how many times have you, like, delayed your bedtime because you're scrolling through something on your phone. And just, like, it never shuts off. And, like, now, like, our society has such a hard time shutting off because, like, the internet's not sleeping. So, but just the difference, like, you see such a community within the arcade. Like, they're all so close and everyone, like, knows each other and, like, kind of has each other's back even when there's conflict. Versus, like, the internet, it's just, like, every man for themselves. And it's just, like, this swarm of, like, content and viruses, like the dark side, not literally like the dark web, but like just like viruses and stuff like that, and how it can be a negative place. So I saw like an interesting contrast between like life in the arcade versus life on the internet. It was like you could feel very, very lonely when it came to like the internet. Yeah. Versus like the arcade, they were all like pretty tight.
Yeah. I think I think that's a good point that segues into the other thing I had written down about how this movie talked about how the internet can be a dangerous place, but they also tie it in and say like how it can also be helpful if used correctly.
Yeah.
And that understanding that, and I think that's a huge divide, like generational divide, where you have like some older people, I won't just like generalize, but who see social media specifically and the internet in general as maybe a negative thing or slower to come around to it. When in actuality, it's like, yes, there are negative aspects of it, as with anything, and it can be very harmful and very dangerous.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it can also be extremely helpful.
Right.
And it does expedite some processes, like whether it be like ordering stuff or information.
Finding a job. I
mean, there's a lot of things where the invention of the internet has made things a lot easier. So I think acknowledging that fact that it can be both harmful and helpful is important, showing both of those sides.
Do you think we as a society, as we wrap up 2018, do you think that we abuse the internet
in general?
Yes.
That's a tough one. Like I'm usually on the side of championing the internet and innovation and social media and the use of it, and I think part of that has to do with I'm in a generation where I grew up with largely in part with the internet, and then two, the industry that we work in. We work in marketing, so I think because of those two reasons, I'm biased. So I think everyone does abuse the internet to an extent, but I think it's two sides to that though. Right. But it's crucial. Like anyone who has something negative to say about the internet, I guarantee you, I can cite ways where it has really, really helped them.
Right.
Like, so that's the thing where it's like, yeah, I mean, we abuse. Like, yes, I stay up 2 hours later sometimes than I should, or when I get up in the morning, I'm in bed for an additional hour and a half. When I could have got my day started because I'm like scrolling through Instagram, and then I exit and then go to Facebook, and then I'm like, Facebook is dumb, and then I go to Twitter, and then I read Twitter, and then I tweet, and then I go back to Instagram even though it's only 5 minutes later. So yeah, like I do that, and that's stupid.
Yeah.
Or I just start searching like random streams of thought that I have, and like, oh, I'm gonna Google this, like whatever, just because I don't feel like getting out of bed. So yeah, it can be harmful in that way, and then now my days are later, now I'm up later than I should be.
Right.
But like you said, I know, like I've heard my grandmother say, like, yeah, I used to walk, 8 blocks to the library, to do a paper, and I'm like, that's insane. Like I would not have graduated. Like I barely Google like in college. So yeah. So I mean, you can't tell me that it's not helpful as well.
No, I'm not saying that it's not helpful, but I know
you're just posing the question.
Yeah. So I think that when we, even when we unplug, so consciously avoid using the internet, and I'm not just saying like social media because there's so much more out there than that. We still have a hard time like unplugging our brains from thinking about it.
Yeah,
So like
that's true.
when I go somewhere for like an outdoorsy trip, like I'm taking pictures with the thought of, wow, this is gonna be a fire IG post.
Right.
Or like sometimes I'll see my dog sleeping really cute. Like I posted her on Instagram yesterday, and I saw her and I was like, oh, I'm gonna climb up on top of my bed and take a picture of her.
Right.
That way I can post it. And I don't, like, you follow me, I don't post much at all.
Right. No, it's mostly
but-
Coco.
Shout out to Coco. But it just, like, I didn't look at her and think, oh, she's so cute. Like, I
Right.
looked at her and I'm like, picture.
Yep.
So I think that we have like a really hard time like unplugging. Nothing bothers me more than being out with others socializing and their phone is in their hand or like on the table facing up. It's just like, put it away.
Right.
And I know that like when we hang out we're on our phones, but it's because we're like watching
Right.
football. We literally took an iPad to a restaurant on Saturday. We
To
went
watch multiple games, yeah.
Yeah, we went to a neighborhood festival type of thing in Detroit called Noel Nights. A lot of businesses participate in, and I picked Todd up, and he had his iPad in his hand because there was going to be 2 football games on at once, and he knew that only one would be on the TV.
Yeah, I knew that they were going to play the...
I've never been so proud to be your friend.
Yeah, I knew what the deal was going to be. So they had the SEC championship game on...
Roll Tide.
I am glad they won. I think Saban is undefeated against former assistants, which is crazy. It's that. But anyway, not to go on about football.
Yeah, we can start a whole other podcast.
Yeah, so they... So the SEC championship game is on. And I'm like, okay, I also want to watch the ACC and Big Ten championship. They're only going to play one or the other because those were at the same time. The SEC one was before. So we get there. They played. I was so mad at the restaurant, but also so happy with myself for bringing my iPad. After the SEC championship game comes on, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So they'll probably put on the Big Ten one because we're in the state of Michigan where we have 2 Big Ten teams. So even though neither one is playing, they'll play it. They put on like Young Sheldon or like Big Bang Theory.
It was with Tim Allen in it.
It was.
Oh no, it was Schmidt from New Girl.
It was like it was one of those stupid shows.
No one watches them.
Yeah, it was like one of those ones that is only going to be on for a season, maybe, and then it's going to get canceled, like with a whole bunch of like misfits from other canceled shows. So that they put that on, I was so mad. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I have my iPad, and then I pulled my phone up to watch the ACC championship, and had the Big Ten one on the iPad. So yeah, it worked out. But yes, in that situation, it's acceptable. But that's us. But if we were on there like texting or like just looking on Instagram, you know how like disrespectful you have to be to like out with someone. And if it's just 2 people and you are like just staring at Instagram scrolling, like dang, like
it's bad.
That's
it frustrates me. I don't mind like someone answering a text real quickly, or like peeking at like if they get a notification.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting there browsing content
that's
to kill time,
you're killing time
that
while
actually
talking to me.
that just happened to me the other weekend, and I'm very passive, so I didn't say anything, but that makes me hate the internet.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, no, that is bad. No, whenever if I'm with my family or just with people in general and I have to like reply, I'll say like, hey, I'm sorry, like let me just reply this real quick.
Yeah.
Like,
Probably.
yeah, so like I mean, I feel like that's if I don't do that, just know that that's because I don't like you. So some of my favorite, I think you mentioned your favorite quotes. I know I had my favorite quote from the movie was
Clenching butt.
Yeah, yours was clenching butt. Mine is no law. There's no law saying that friends have to share the same dream. And that was like kind of deep, and like I love when they just drop like these jewels in these movies. Like you're like, dang, like I thought it was just gonna be like share with each other, like play together, like treat others the way you want to be treated. Yeah, like let it go. Exactly. So, but no, I think that's something that is, everyone might not struggle with that with their friends, but I think it's really hard for some people to understand like your dreams. Like maybe like it's one thing like letting someone go off and do those things and like not wanting to separate, like especially like we can relate coming from college where you're like within a mile of all your friends and then you all move around the country and it's like, oh dang, like I don't see them. Yeah, it's inevitable. but then also on another level of just not understanding dreams. Like there's some goals and things that I have that I like won't share with some people because I know they won't understand it. But yeah, I think that's something like you have to be able to understand that like not everyone's gonna understand or like see stuff the way like there's certain dreams and like goals that I have that like as I talk to people I'm like they can't see it, so I can't be mad at them that they don't don't believe or like back up, but they can't comprehend it because I'm like, but you can't see it, so I can't really get mad at you. Like I can see it clear, but like they have their own goals and dreams and like, and you also can't want something for someone that they don't want. Like there's that, and I don't think that's not really what they were going at, but
he was being protective of her, which this was my first thing to talk about is like, are they dating? Because he keeps calling her kid and treats her like a little girl, but like they make some interesting eye contact. It gave me some like serious Monsters Inc. like this relationship between Sully, right?
Yeah.
Sully and Boo, like. Yeah.
No, I think it was like a big brother, big sister thing. I think it was innocent.
Why? All right. My brother does not care that much about my dreams.
Well, you know what?
Nor does he wear a cookie necklace that I never made.
Well, you need to make a cookie necklace for him this Christmas.
No.
Christmas after that. You're welcome for giving me that clutch Christmas.
I'll give her a gingerbread cookie necklace.
That is clever, actually. You should. But yeah, I think that's another thing is like, you can't want something for someone that they don't want for themselves. Like the divide was Ralph wanted Vanellope to come back to the game because he felt like it was safer. He wanted to spend every day with her. She wanted to do something else. In this situation, it's a little bit different. Like he wanted it for selfish reasons, but sometimes you want better for your friends and they don't like want that. So you just kind of have to be like, all right, like whatever. That's probably not good advice or friend advice, but that's how I feel. And this is another thing, a continued conversation that we had. This made me think about like the whole dreams thing. How I asked you like what you could do if you could do like any job in the world, like any like what's your like dream job, and how I was saying to you that I ask people that all the time about their dream job, and it always astonishes me how many people will say jobs that are super obtainable but they're like making no strides. Like I've asked people before, like if you could do anything, what would you do? And they're like, I don't want to like say something. They'd be like, yo, why'd you talk about dream on the podcast?
Well, you can say what my first answer was.
What was it? I'm sorry. No, I wait. Give me a second. Wait. Let me think. You said, no, I'm not gonna remember. Tell me.
To marry rich.
Yes, that was your first answer. No, what was your follow up though? What was your follow up? Your real follow up.
Well, I think I said probably something along the lines of being like a volleyball coach.
Yes.
And then you said, oh, like everyone always gives such an obtainable answer, and I was like, well, if you wanted like my real answer, it would be like being able to start my own nonprofit and running it ethically and helping a group of people and spreading the gospel. And you were like, well, why can't you do that? And I was like, well, I thought you meant like if I quit my job and just applied for any random job, like what would that be?
Okay, yep. So I'm glad I was not going to remember all that at all.
Well, the marrying rich thing was probably, you laughed at it.
Yeah, no,
it was a pity laugh.
Yeah, no, it was a real laugh. I mean and it wasn't to be like, I wasn't saying that like you loser, like why don't you do something with your life? But no, but it is interesting that people will say stuff that that like you could just do. Like I don't understand why.
What's yours?
I have a couple that all kind of intertwine, but the number one is I would be a voice actor for a kids movie. So if I could be a voice actor for a kids movie, that would be like if I was one of the characters in Wreck-It Ralph, like, or if I was like Ralph, that would be the greatest thing ever.
My uncle works for Pixar.
Whoa, that is huge. We will talk about that after this. I mean, I have no acting background, but and I'm glad the path I'm taking, because now I just have to take a path. Like the only way now, because I don't have an acting background and I don't intend to get into acting, is to get famous to where they put me in it anyway. You know what I mean? So like like the famous stars where you're just like, oh, obviously they have no acting. Sarah Silverman. Yeah, you're a comic. Maybe I have to still be an entertainer. She's got a catchy voice though.
Like her voice is perfect.
It sounds like a kid.
She really didn't have to change it that much.
No, not really. So that's gonna be the route now. But no, I have a lot of other goals. But no, I'll I can't be telling like I can't tell the whole world, because then people
no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers on the rest of my life. So overall verdict on the movie. What would you think?
Well, I don't watch many movies, and I watch 2 within a 24-hour period. I try to like pay more attention to the sequel rather than the first one.
Right.
Overall, I thought it was a very well-written movie. I think they did a really good job of mixing in humor, but also some good life lessons of the internet being an overwhelming, but also can be like very lonely place. So they had like good core messages there. I could have lived without some of the tangents that they went on, like some of the little side parts went on for like a couple of minutes too long, where I was like, all right, let's keep moving. Like that big beast monster at the end where they're like hashing it out.
Oh yeah,
it's
that did go on.
This movie could have been over by now if we would have cut this into just like 12 seconds.
Yeah, they went a little.
But that's coming from someone who doesn't like to sit through movies, so.
Yeah. No, I admit that one was a little. I was thinking that too. Like, come on now, and also was going to I had to coach the Red Wings game, so I was trying to get out of there.
I was just tired. Those comfy chairs would get you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the recliners. I can't go sit in a regular movie theater now. Well, actually, that's a lie. I went to Allen Park. Allen Park. I said this on my podcast too. Yeah, you listen. $1 movies.
Oh, I did. I grew up there.
Oh.
Yeah, my dad, he has sleep apnea, and there was a couple times I had to check on him in that chair. I was like, "Okay, can't be falling asleep there, Mick."
Right.
Don't wake up. My dad's name is Mickey. Mickey Mouse.
Is it actually Mickey?
His name is Michael, but he's gone by Mickey since he was.
Got it. Nice. I don't know if I know any other Mickeys.
Is there a Mickey? Oh.
What?
There's not a movie about him, is there?
I mean, you have Fantasia, and then you have like a couple other like movies that you can get like straight on tape. There's not like a full animation like.
There's just a TV show, the Mickey Mouse Club.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they've had a couple of different like TV shows, adaptations like that, like cartoons, like maybe Three Musketeers, and I don't think any have been in theaters though.
No, I'm not mad. I thought it was really well written. The people who wrote it did an awesome job. I laughed a couple times.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was good. I think they shouldn't make another though. Because that was a good way to end it. Like it just was
making a lot of money.
Yeah, I think it's if you have something good, like don't like keep the integrity of it. I hate when movies lose their integrity or series or shows and they and just keep going like we're making money. So we're Star Wars, prime example.
Yeah.
Stop it. Please stop making the Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but stop it. Cut it out. Like they're
should have stopped after the first one. Which wasn't that like technically the 4th or whatever?
Stop it, Abby. Stop it.
You used to play the video game.
I don't have to kick you out. No, Star Wars. The first 3, not episodes. First 3 movies. Episode 4, 5, and 6. Great. A lot of those like diehard like fans from them don't like episodes 1, 2, and 3 that came out later. I like all 6. After they got out of those 6, it's been going like slowly downhill. Like that episode 7 straight, and then since then I'm like, okay, like. Disney, I get it. You're trying to milk all the money you can out of this franchise that you just got, but like, keep some integrity to the series, man. But anyway, you don't want to go on. Well, I'll wait till I review a Star Wars movie.
Chewbacca's hot.
Talk about that. That's weird.
It's kind of man I'm into.
Yeah, that's. Good luck. I mean, you do have kind of crazy hair, so it might make a good match.
Todd.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yep. Any movie trailers?
Yeah. So I saw the first Lego movie in theaters with my family.
Really? Have you seen the other Lego movies? Great series. Lego Batman.
I did see Lego Batman when I
hilarious. Lego Batman is hilarious.
Watch that.
Lego Ninjago. Have you seen Lego? No. Yeah, also a good one. Batman's the best, but Ninjago's really good too.
The first one made me laugh a lot. It was too long and it was too loud. I was like, turn the volume down. But that one was really good. And so like I would consider watching the second one like if it came out on Redbox. Like I won't go see it in the theater.
Okay. Fair.
But I think the biggest one that stuck out to me, well, obviously, like I'm thinking you're probably gonna say Mary Poppins.
No, I sit down on another one, so I can't say that again, even though I'm super pumped about it.
I will support John Krasinski's family in anything that they do. So
I will. Because of The Office?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
If you ever reviewed The Office for some reason, like.
If I do shows, I mean that could just get nuts.
Yeah.
I've even thought about doing some stuff with music because I really love music too, but
I'll say the Lego one because they nail making kids movies for adults.
Yes.
Yes. It's hilarious. I think the first one was a little too long, but
yeah,
also this new Steve Carell one, Welcome to Something That Starts with an M. Strictly again because The Office, I adore him, and it's weird for me to see him not in that role Michael
Michael?
Scott, but
I like him in a lot of stuff. So it's. I mean, as much as I love Michael Scott, you can see his humor, like that same type of dry
smirk.
humor. Yeah, in a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
And he just does a great job. I love Steve Carell. And then I guess my movie is probably, I didn't want to do another animated. I want to say another animated one, but it's probably How to Train Your Dragon 2 that came on before. Do you see that trailer? No, I'm sorry. I said How to Train Your Dragon 2. I'm sorry. No, not the second one. The second one was great. This is the third one that's coming out. And the first two were really good, and they have a third one that's about to come out. I saw the trailer when I went to go see Round Breaks the Internet, so I'm excited about that. So yeah. Do you have anything else, Abby?
Yeah.
That you wanted to add that wasn't a negative comment towards me?
No.
Because I don't like the look in your eyes right now.
I just think How to Train a Dragon is kind of stupid. But
Did you see it?
Nope.
Well, nope. Then I don't want to hear it because I thought it sounded silly
I know a lot of
too, and I
people
saw
who
it.
have said that they enjoyed it, but I'm
Oh,
like,
okay,
it's
good.
literally called How to Train. All right, whatever. But
It's fire. I mean,
if you like it, you like it.
It's amazing. I love it. You should see it. All right. Thank you all for listening.
Oh,
you
I thought I
have
got a
something else?
final shout out.
Oh, no, that's not usually how this works. But thank you to Abby, since she's making me say thank you to her for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Stay blessed. Stay warm. Have a great week.
I literally wrote a final shout out.
Oh, wow. Go ahead.
You
write it for
have
me?
asked Kelsey and Suki both got final shout outs.
They did?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Yeah. Any final thoughts that you have?
I said
any
you
special
said-
shout outs?
Oh, yeah. I'm
and
sorry.
both times I was like, oh, Suki's about to be like, what's up, Abby? But
Oh. Are you shouting them out? Go ahead.
my word of advice is if
Oh.
you have grandparents, call them
Oh,
and tell you that you love them.
that's sweet. Have you seen Up?
Yeah. Did I sob hysterically? Absolutely.
Great movie.
But yeah, call them before Christmas. Don't wait for them to say hi.
Don't wait.
They love
Wow. That's a lovely note to end on. Thank you for forcing me to give you that platform. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for listening. Until next time. Peace.